Hello, children. I am back. Got a lot more vids to make just in general. But today we're going to be talking about the Wicked movie. The movie called Wicked, which I saw last night. First of all, I need to preface this with the fact that musicals are not my thing. They're not my cup of tea. Never have been, never will be. So I'm not really the target audience for this movie, but I guess I sort of am because I'm someone who just sees movies all the time. And I was getting real sick, honestly, of seeing this trailer because I saw this trailer, the preview for this movie, probably for about a year, honestly, in front of every single movie. There's a trailer for this movie. And I was like, and there's just so much hype around it. It was such a big deal. I was like, okay, I want to see it. So my husband and I saw it last night, and I was like, let's talk about our expectations in the car ride over there. By the way, we went to Cinnabar, Cinebarre, and I'm not going there again. We'll talk about that in a minute. In Las Vegas. But we talked about our expectations. I was like, okay, what are our expectations for this movie? And we talked about them, and then we talked about them afterwards. Oh, hi. Hi. And this pretty much met my expectations, you guys. I have not seen the stage musical, and I never plan on doing so. Not only do I not like musicals in movie form for the most part, I don't even really like them in play form. Again, not my cup of tea. However, that's very clearly how the art form was intended to be experienced, is as a stage show. So I kind of get that more than turning a musical that's a stage show into a movie. Anyway. Hi, Danny. She wants to hang out. You can hang out. Okay. There you go. You're a good girl. Okay, anyway. I was so surprised that this movie was 2 hours 40 minutes. That shocked me. I was like, you're kidding me, right? But they were serious. The reason I'm definitely not fucking gonna be going back to Cinnabar is the movie screening we saw was listed to start at 7:30. Y'all know I have a problem with the 30 fucking goddamn minutes of commercials before the movie, but they didn't even start the commercials for this movie at 7:30. They started them at 7:42, which is 12 minutes late. Which, like, rude. So that was the number one thing that, the first thing that made me not want to go to the cinema again. Anyway, you guys, I'm like the biggest fan of The Wizard of Oz, the movie. I love The Wizard of Oz. I loved it as a kid. I watched it all the time on VHS as a kid. Something I also loved, and my husband hasn't seen it, so I can't wait to watch it with him, is Return to Oz, the sequel to Wizard of Oz, which is not a musical. There's no singing in it, and it's actually like borderline a horror film. It's scary. Okay, let's let's just recall for a moment that these books are a little bit scary, right? The books. Okay, I'm talking about the books, not the movie. The movie is a little bit scary too, but the Tin Man became the Tin Man because he cut off his leg. For real, you guys. This is what happened in the Land of Oz, okay? He cut off his leg, and then he was like, "Oh, cut off my leg." He replaced it with tin, apparently. And then he was like, I found a Cheerio. I was just eating Cheerios. He was like, "Oh, I better just cut off my other leg and also make it tin." Disturbing. That's kind of disturbing. I didn't know that. I didn't recall that until I watched Return to Oz again later, you guys. Anyway. I haven't seen the stage play of this movie, of Wicked, okay? And Wicked was actually pretty popular when I was in high school, the musical. It started on Broadway in 2003, but they already had a like long-standing show of it going in Chicago when I was in high school, and a lot of girls saw it when I was in high school. And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting," but I didn't see it. So I knew of it, is what I'm saying. I'm kind of annoyed with this movie because it starts when the Wicked Witch of the West, which is Elphaba, the main gal, Cynthia, I keep saying her name wrong, Enviro, Erivo. It starts when the Wicked Witch has died, okay? Basically, it starts when Dorothy could have sworn that was my dog trying to get outside, but I guess not. Arrives in Oz, because when we start the movie, Glinda is like, they're announcing the Wicked Witch is dead, and Glinda's going to see the Munchkins, which, by the way, they're not even little people. They're average height people. Bug, can you stop, please? It's okay. Stop pawing at me. You're fine. They're not even little people, okay? They're average height people. They're not even doing like camera tricks to make them look small. They're just normal ass average height people that live in a specific region and kind of dress a certain way. Come here. Let's go under the blanket. Okay, you want to sit there. You want to go under the blanket? Sorry, I don't have a good shot right now. Ooh, okay. Are you happy? They start the movie once she's dead, with these not so little munchkins, okay? And I was annoyed because if that was happening, and so the main gals and the main characters in this are Elphaba, the green gal, and Glinda, the pink gal, Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is 31, and I didn't know how old. Her name is Billy Burke. The original woman who played Glinda was in The Wizard of Oz. I assumed she was 50. I looked her up. She was actually 55 at the time, but Ariana is 31. So she just like didn't age, or she magically made herself younger. I don't really know. But that pissed me off to start. I was like, okay, this movie also has what I'm calling the magnificence problem. Maybe I should say the visually stunning problem. I think I might have said that in a different video. But it's when everything is super extremely visually stunning. They've got super cool costumes, super cool set design, super cool visual effects, really cool makeup. Though the makeup wasn't even that cool, honestly. But you see what I'm saying? Is they have these really, really, really shiny, flashy, visual paintings in front of you, right? But the movie itself is not that good, and the shiny shit is there to keep you engaged. So it's like, anyway, I feel like I was kind of. I guess it doesn't matter that I was missing context from not having seen the live show, because tons of people who went to see this movie also aren't gonna have seen the live show. So like, I don't really think that mattered very much. Anyway, so they go to this school, which is called Shiz University, which, like, one, what a fucking stupid name. Two, oh, I just want to say this before. Okay. Two, I don't even fucking know what they were learning. Honestly. They, like, barely showed them in class, and the students weren't really doing any work at any point. And Ariana said to Elphaba, she was like, I want to major in sorcery. And Elphaba was like, okay, well, that if you want to major in sorcery, that doesn't mean you already know sorcery at this moment, having not gone to school. What I want to say, let's rewind a little bit, is like the first moment we saw Glinda, which was like almost the first thing in the movie, my husband immediately said, whoa, she looks like a skeleton. And she does. She looks like a fucking skeleton, dude. And it's really frightening to see. It's really gross to see. I don't want to see people that look like skeletons. Like, ew. Anyway, I also knew of the fact that there was a character in a wheelchair in the stage play and in the movie. I knew of that. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I was kind of excited to see what her character was about, like, you know, how they were gonna incorporate her being in a wheelchair in the movie. And, like, they almost could have eliminated her character entirely. Seriously, for the movie, they could have eliminated her character completely, because she was like a couple of lines away. Honestly, she did not have many lines, dude. I don't even think she had 10 lines. She was a couple of lines away from just being a background character, and she was clearly merely a plot device. I can't imagine she had much more to say and do in the musical. I don't know. Maybe she had she did sing a little bit, but everyone fucking sang a little bit, dude. It was obnoxious to me. Anyway, what also annoyed me a lot, and this isn't even unique to the movie, because this definitely would have happened in the stage show as well. So let's remember, Oz is this magical land, right? We've got a talking Tin Man. We've got a talking anthropomorphic lion. We've got a talking living scarecrow. We've got fucking poppies that put you to sleep. Okay? There are actually, if you read the books, there are more characters that are anthropomorphized animals. Also, something really crazy that apparently happens in the Land of Oz is an entire ethnicity of people, the Munchkins, goes from being little people to being completely average height people in the span of about 85 years. So all of that was going on. Yet this woman with green skin shows up and everyone's like, oh my God, that is so strange. We've got talking animals, but green skinned women. Ugh. Ugh. Also, I thought it was like borderline embarrassing that Cynthia Erivo was getting all butthurt about someone making a movie, a fan-made poster on the internet, making the movie poster look more like the Broadway stage show poster. She was all mad about that. But like, from the trailer, I thought she was actually the only black person in the whole movie, and she was painted green. Like, that's not a problem. There were more black folks. The wheelchair, oh shit, I keep calling her wheelchair girl. What's her actual name? Nessa was mixed race. They had some Asian folk. I'm pretty sure there were some black folks that were background dancers, but yeah, in the trailer, she looks like the only black person in that whole fucking movie. But that's not offensive that everyone's grossed out at her being green. Anyway, a lot of things just didn't make sense in this movie. Like, it was implied extremely briefly that Glinda was from a wealthy known family. But for some reason, when she got to school, she just immediately had like a fan club. She like immediately had like a team of people that were just obsessed with her and loved her. And I was like, pardon me? Also, the kids all wore uniforms. I guess they're not kids though, because it looked like you had to be at least 27 to enroll in this university. But everyone wore uniforms, right? But Glinda didn't have to. For some reason, she was always not wearing the uniform. And then Elphaba didn't wear the uniform, and then eventually this guy who's a prince was not okay. You guys, there's so much fucking going on in this movie. It was chaotic. Honestly, it was fucking chaotic. There were way too many people in the opening number with the munchkins. There were just the visual clutter. Okay, there was visual fucking clutter on the screen. It made it really, it was just really like, it was hard to watch, honestly. I mean, musicals are hard to watch for me just in general. But anyway, Elphaba ends up going to this fucking school, and I want to remind you that it was a 2 hours, 40-minute long movie, which is super long, which I don't even know how they did that, because apparently the stage show is 4 hours long, which is also kind of long, but there's an intermission at 2 hours. Yet they made part one of this movie 2 hours, 40 minutes. Why? I don't know why the studio okayed that. It's beyond me, like, truly. Anyway, yeah, so everyone was like, oh my God, we have talking animals and little people that change their height within 85 years to average height, and we also have magic, but the green person, that's gross. Like, that's fucking stupid, and I'm not sorry to say it. And also, like I said, like, Glinda had this goddamn fan club out of nowhere, but then Elphaba, the green gal, had this goddamn hatred club out of nowhere. She did nothing to anyone. I mean, maybe there's like, maybe she did things that were like not cool in the musical. I'm not sure. But everyone just hated her because she was green. You know what? I get her being seen as kind of a freak because she's green. I got that. But like, once we get over the initial shock of that, right? There was no reason for everyone to be freaked out by her. I guess she could kind of do magic, but people didn't even really know that. And she also couldn't fully control her powers, so people didn't like know immediately that she was magical. There was just no reason given for everyone to hate her. Yet everyone hated her. I thought that was real stupid. There was this one scene that really, really annoyed me because it was extremely long. So obviously Elphaba's like this outcast, and oh, not everyone likes her, and oh, she's so weird because she's green. It's a little bit, it might even be even weirder for people to go to university and not actually learn anything, but I digress. Anyway, she goes to this party. She joins the party once it's already in progress. And again, for no fucking reason, everyone just stops, like, they even stop playing the music. Everyone stops to just look at her and, like, mock her. It made no sense, okay? And she was trying to, like, diffuse the tension by, like, dancing around, and then Glinda did end up dancing with her. At that fucking scene was so long, dude. There was no reason this movie had to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. None whatsoever. I understand that, like, it's obviously, you know, a lot of people have a lot of love for this story. They have a lot of love for the musical. So I get why you would want to make the musical into a movie. But why would you want to add 40 whole minutes to the first half of the act that didn't, in fact, exist in the stage play? I don't really get it. Anyway, okay, so I told you this movie was really fucking long. I'm trying to find where it was. Oh, there was improper grammar in the first line of the movie. And I guess that was because Glinda was supposed to be using words improperly. I didn't fully get that. Like, sometimes people would use incorrect words to say things. That pisses me off, dude. I don't give a fuck. She was saying, like, okay, hold on. What did she say? Okay, she said, there has been so much rumor and speculation. There have been so many rumors and speculation is the correct way to say that. But they opened it up with a grammatically incorrect line, so I was like, okay. Anyway, I do want to say that Nessa's wheelchair looked really, really cool. Like, before we get back to the plot real quick, this movie did, in fact, look super cool. I loved the costumes. I loved the visual effects were pretty cool. There was one scene, the one where Prince Fiero shows up. I forgot that guy's name. Sorry, that guy, that really sexy guy that's in Bridgerton. Jack is being very rowdy. I think he needs WAOK, or he needs to be fed or something, but he's not letting me shoot right now. Bug, can you get in here? Come here. Come here. Come here. Anyway, the scene with once Prince Fiero shows up, who, by the way, wasn't introduced until like an hour, maybe a little less than an hour into the movie. You don't do that. I mean, maybe you do that in Broadway shows, in musicals. I am not an aficionado of that. Maybe that's seen as okay in those shows, but like in movies, you don't introduce main characters over an hour in, unless you actually, what could have been done easily is they could have had like a tabloid of this prince. They could have established this prince's existence. If you establish his existence to begin with, and then he actually does, in fact, show up an hour in, that's okay. But, like, they hadn't even mentioned this guy. There was no mention of him. There was no acknowledgement of his existence at all in any way. But then he just showed up, like, an hour in, and everyone knew who he was. And I was like... Anyway, That scene where he was doing his little song was actually pretty cool. I forgot that actor's name. I did not know he could dance as well as he can. I don't think he's a trained dancer, but he's like pretty good. That scene was very cool because they had this if you imagine like a giant tube, okay? And imagine it kind of like a hamster wheel. It was like a library. Like there were books like lined up all around the sphere of it, and you would go into this like vertical thing, and then you would turn to. It was cool. That was in fact very visually cool. Okay, I'm not gonna deny that fact. But again, another fucking thing that they did in addition to introducing one of the main characters over an hour in was so a plot point that happened was they established Peter Dinklage's character, who's a talking goat. And I knew it was him from I knew it was you, bruh, from the trailer. Like, I honestly, chances are, if I'll recognize any famous person's voice, like just their voice. But so they introduced him as like a professor, right? And then what happened? He was like, "Oh, like animals are really badly treated in Oz." That was like, I was like, "Oh, this sounds like a theme of the whole story." Yet we're not getting it until over an hour into the movie. Again, bro, John M. Chu doesn't fucking know what he's doing, okay? Quote me. Hi Warner Brothers, hi Universal, hi John M. Chu. Sorry, bro, you don't know what you're doing here. I didn't watch Crazy Rich Asians, but like, what in the fuck is going on, bruh? For real with this movie. Anyway, oh, Ariana has lip fillers and it's so ugly. I hate lip fillers. They're so fucking disgusting and gross looking, and in addition to her looking like a skeleton, she also had these lip fillers. LA girls all look the same. They got the same work done on their face. That's Weekend. I just... someone who is a role model for children, which is any pop star really, looking like a skeleton and having fillers and also being vegan is a bad example, Ariana. Just want to put that out there. Vegan Deterioration did a video about them, about both Ariana and Cynthia Erivo being vegan and them looking emaciated as fuck in their movie, because they do. And I wrote as a comment on it, because it's true, is that drugs aren't as fashionable anymore. It's not fashionable to be doing drugs as like a Hollywood star, but it is fashionable to be vegarexic. Miss me with that shit, dude. Anyway, we got this fucking like main plot point of the movie introduced over an hour into the movie of these animals being treated badly. And like, I don't know if this is how the stage production is done, but I thought it was real fucking stupid that like everyone at the university was just dumb as fuck. Like I forgot his name, Peter Dinklage as the goat character. He was starting a class, and then some other people showed up and were like, "We're not going to allow animals to teach." He was like, "I have to leave my position because they're not allowing animals to teach anymore." And they like put him in a cage and whisked him away. What the fuck? And everyone was just like, and then they brought in a new guy with an animal, with a little baby like tiger cub or something in a cage, and he was like, "Cages are good," and everyone was like, "Yeah, okay." That was so fucking stupid. Okay, but then it got even better, because Elphaba was like, "Oh hell no, I don't want them to do that to my animal, or I don't want them to do that to an animal." So she unknowingly, uncontrollably made the poppies put everyone in the room to sleep except for Prince Fiero. And then he made the move to be like, "Okay, little guy," the little tiger cub, "we're going to get you out of here." So they took the tiger cub, they went to the forest, and they left him there. This little baby tiger cub that was very clearly like under 3 months old. So they basically just left it for dead in the forest, and that was somehow better. That was somehow better than whatever the fuck else was going to happen to it. But like, again, everyone at the university was stupid as fuck. And for no reason, Glinda had these like drooling fans, and for no reason, Elphaba had these, you know, full-on haters. Not making a lot of sense. You guys, I told you I love The Wizard of Oz. Okay, I do. I love the movie The Wizard of Oz, and I've read some of the books too. They're really great. I love Return to Oz. I hate this movie. Sorry. I hate it. I hate this campy bullshit with the musical. Musical is just not my. You guys, I've said this like 15 times already. It's just not my thing. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like musicals, and I don't like this movie. I don't like Wicked. I thought it was fucking stupid. I thought it was fucking obnoxious, and like it was so annoying because like every time something kind of significant was happening, almost every time they would have to sing a song about it. Like I knew that song Defying Gravity, okay? I knew of it. Like it's kind of a known song, you know? But so they didn't sing that song until the very end of the movie. And I guess it very likely would have been the very end of Act 1 of the play. But it really does bother me. I know it's a musical and not a movie, but it does bother me in movies too in general. Like, so anyway, Elphaba was seen as like she had written to the Wizard of Oz, right? She wrote to him. She was like, I'm concerned about our animal peers being treated this way. I'm concerned about the treatment of animals. And there was also this teacher there that she was cool with, who was teaching her, who was incapable of doing any kind of magic. Actually, she literally did one magical thing, and she didn't do any other magical things in the whole movie. But she was like, oh yeah, you should write to the wizard. And then she writes to the wizard, and then the wizard gives her an invitation to go meet him. And then we did see Idina Menzel. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her last name. Idina Menzel, isn't that her name? And Kristen Chenoweth singing this song about the book that's so special and important and great that only Oz can read. They had to like introduce another plot point that there's this book that exists that only the wizard can read at the very fucking end of the movie. I just here, okay, I want to say this and I really mean this. I love the Disney Renaissance movies. Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Little Mermaid. There's one I always forget. I love those movies. Okay? Those are fucking baller, all right? But those are animated. And those are also kids' movies. And I think that those movies, I think that in that specific context, it does kind of make more sense to have songs, you know, peppered without occasionally, because like they're really illustrating a point, right? Like with Prince Ali, okay, I fucking love that song, dude. Or Friend Like Me, for that matter, or Be Our Guest, right? They're really, really, really painting this picture of like, look at all this crazy shit that's happening. Like, look at all these amazing things that are happening, and it's building up the fact that this situation is actually maybe not that great, or like it's building emotion. It's creating things within the world that makes sense, right? Don't feel that way about the music in Wizard of Oz. Anyway, sorry, not in Wizard of Oz, in Wicked. Anyway, so Elphaba goes to see the wizard, and it turns out he doesn't have any powers. And it turns out, like, he was actually trying to, like, I don't want to say kidnap. What's the word? He's basically just trying to indoctrinate her to come and work for him. And that was something I did like about this movie, was that she was like, oh no, fam, I'm not doing that. I thought that was actually cool. It really isn't often, it's very rare in movies that you build up a specific character to be really cool, and you build up a main character to really like this, cool character, and then eventually when both characters finally meet, it's not as common for the latter to be like, oh, actually this is just, never mind, bye. Like, anyway, so Elphaba was in trouble because she defied Oz and she destroyed some of his stuff, and she and Glinda ran off and were able to, like, get into a locked room together, and, like, so I thought it was so fucking stupid that was the time for a song. Like, they had very, very limited time, right? But they were like, defying gravity. I'm sure it's slightly different in the musical, but I think it's kind of similar. Listen, I've told you guys like 18 times now, musicals are just not my thing. Okay, well, sorry, what I was going to say a minute ago that I forgot about was I don't think that musicals can really be successfully translated into movies. Sorry. I think that movies like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin can be successfully translated into stage plays. I think that works better, but I don't think the opposite can happen. Obviously, it can physically happen and it can be done, right? But it's not as good. Okay? I kind of want to know who this movie was for. Again, the target audience for this is confusing to me. Obviously, there are devoted fans, people who love the musical, love the live show, want to see it as a movie. Cool, I got that. That's not everyone, though. Obviously, people who haven't seen the live show are going to go see the movie, right? But that's where I'm confused, because I wouldn't really say this is a kid's movie. Yo, quote me, any movie that's 2 hours and 40 minutes is not a kid's movie, okay? It's not a kid's movie. It's a musical. Obviously, it's the wizard. It's within the Oz, like, world, right? But like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Wizard of Oz, and I don't fucking like this movie. I don't even really appreciate the fact that it was made, honestly. But that's not my circus, not my monkeys. You guys. Okay, I've talked a lot of shit on this movie. Let me get a little bit positive here. Ariana Grande is great. She's very talented. She's great at what she does. Cynthia Erivo too. She's good. They're both very talented. I don't like the fact that they're vegan once again, but oh, hi, Danny's back. So they're good. They're good at what they do, right? I like the visual effects. I wouldn't really say that this is like an accurate representation of the Land of Oz, though, because it's not from the original author. For real. It ain't. Okay? This is a completely different author This is a completely different timeline, really, because so in addition to everything I listed that people are not are accustomed to, like talking animals and little people becoming average height magically over time, uh there's also like maybe like if you perform magic you can like change your age. I just this movie's not my cup of tea. Never will be. Um oh, there are also flying monkeys. That's that's normal. Okay. Honestly, when this movie was over, both my husband and I were like, wow, like we both said that we had headaches cuz we did. Like the visual, what do I call it? Mess. That's a little bit much. The visual, there's such a thing as too much visual stimulation, for real. There's such a thing as too much sound, for real. We were sitting pretty close to the front, pretty close to the speaker, but like I honestly feel like the sound mixing might have been a little bit off. I think it might have been a little bit too loud. Okay, so we've got some talented actors in this. We've got obviously very, very talented costume people, set designers. I really loved, absolutely loved the jacket that it's like, I don't know if it was a jacket or like a coat that Ariana Grande was wearing when they went to go see the wizard. That was a really fucking cool garment, honestly. But I would only recommend this movie to you if you're like a diehard fan of the musical itself. Otherwise, do yourself and me a kindness and just like don't watch it.